what's up? This is Munky from Korn, and you're watching PureGrainAudio. Yes, our 7th nomination. Yeah. We've won 2, and it's cool. Like when I was young, I really didn't really care that much about it. I think now that we're all older and we can appreciate it more. And it's kind of the recognition of, your peers and colleagues and people within the industry. I think that they see that we've persevered over kind of some ups and downs through our career, and been sort of the underdog, I guess, in the rock and metal world, because we're not really rock. We're heavier than rock, but sometimes we're not metal because we're not as heavy as heavy metal. And Jonathan always says that Korn is not a metal band. There's many different aspects to this band. So to get the recognition after so many years, it's an honor. I mean, our first tour when we came over here, it was apparent that there was a new sort of a movement that was happening. But when we were in the States and touring, we didn't realize there was such a big demand for that, and that sort of niche for the style of music we were playing, and we didn't know it was going to grow into something and last this long. Yeah. So I just don't know if we comprehended that. I think we were just making music as to the fact that we were doing something we loved. I can look back now and feel like we definitely pioneered something, because there were so many bands that tried to emulate what we were doing, which is a compliment, but I just felt like we were just playing music from our heart and taking our own inspiration and our own creative ideas and mashing them together and to do something that we were passionate about, I remember coming off the road, and then we wrote that album. We literally went from being on tour straight into a rehearsal room and writing those songs really quickly. I remember the label wanted to follow up with another album, and we just wrote that album. It was a little bit of a frustrating time because we wanted to enjoy the success of our first album, but yet and the label wanted us to make a new record very quickly. So it was kind of hard to sit back and enjoy that. So it was just kind of a flash, but we weren't writing for that sort of recognition. We were just, again, writing from just the passion, the aggression, and the frustration at the moment. So that was the first one we won, and I think it was for the video, actually. So it was a short film or video or something. It was nice. We collaborated with Todd McFarlane. We could actually at that point kind of sit back and reflect and be like, wow, we worked really hard on that record, and pulled a lot of we sort of took a creative turn into like a bit of a more mainstream approach without really knowing. I think the first 2 records were just so dark and kind of angry. We wanted to kind of just step back a little bit from that, and I think that's when doors started to open. Radio became more available, and I think that was our sort of mainstream success at that point. Yeah, I think we had a better sense of songwriting too at that point on Follow the Leader. Just structuring songs, coming up with melodies and hooks a little bit. Right. Not quite as angry, but yeah, a little bit more of a party mood. Here to Stay always is in the set list whenever we play live. It just kind of has everything that I love about this band. It's got a heavy riff, a melodic chorus, the breakdown, and then it rebuilds into a killer groove. And it could be my favorite Korn song of all time. Yeah, I think it's kind of a hybrid of the elements that Ross Robinson, our first producer, kind of pulled that raw energy out of us, and then the producers like Brendan O'Brien, and he was able to kind of help us structure songs that made sense to the listener, where we're not just like, he gave us a really interesting perspective and in just overall songwriting. Yeah, we actually put this, did my time out on, it was at the end of the Tomb Raider movie. And I remember going to the movie theater and thinking like, I can't wait to hear the song where they put it. And I watched the whole movie, and it's right at the very end when they end the credits. I was like, what? Everybody's getting up to leave, and I was like, okay, it's there. It's in a point where, you know, it's kind of the peak of the movie, but it is the end. It was crazy. It was crazy because she was actually in the video. I mean, she was out on location. I think somewhere in like Toronto or something, and she shot on a green screen, and they did their Hollywood magic and put her in the video. But it's cool. Like Angelina Jolie's in our video. It's really, she's like a mega star. When they were telling us that she's gonna be in the video, we're like, when's she gonna be here? You know, we're on the set like, all of us waiting, and they're, well, she's not actually gonna be here. We're like, what? But it's cool. It's really cool that her significant other, he's a Korn fan. Between the last nomination and this nomination, I mean, you know, Brian had left the band, and then he had come back at this point, and we wrote the album, The Paradigm Shift, and this record, Serenity of Suffering. So again, there's sort of this uphill, I feel like, challenge for us to get back where we were with Brian and writing the songs again and that's it, and just kind of get everything moving really, you know, cleanly, and so I think that's sort of was that up and down. You know, before Brian came back to the band, Jonathan and I, you know, really wanted to turn things upside down and do an electronic album, and it was fun. I think we learned a lot. We learned what fans want and what they don't want, and it was interesting because we still like that electronic element in our songs, but there has to be a bit more of a balance, you know, and I think that's with this album, The Serenity of Suffering, and the nomination we got for Rotting in Vain. I feel like that it's definitely a hybrid of the last few years of songwriting. Kind of found our lane again, kind of turned the ship around into a direction that pleases us creatively, and also the fans, I think, really like the direction of this record as well. The video's really good too. Our friend Dean Carr, who filmed the video, did a really great job in capturing us, you know, in this old warehouse. I think that had something to do with it. I think people it was the first song that we released for the album. I think it was definitely the right call. Kind of had a few, you know, heavy riffs, melodic, kind of classic Korn traits in the song, and I feel like it was the right song to lead off, and it again feels like we're kind of going a little bit backwards by polishing some strengths that we haven't really used in a while, and kind of looking to the future as to where we want to go next. They do matter to us now. I think that we're older, we're more mature to appreciate it, and it's really cool that, you know, like I said, people within the industry kind of have given you a kind of a pat on the back, so to speak, and we feel like we've been working, you know, 23, 24 years now, and it's the industry changes so much, and you have to change with it, because it'll leave you behind, and you have to stay creative and motivated, and it's not an easy thing to do.